A lot of students over the years have been like, quite curious about my own CAT experience. I cleared CAT 2007, sat for the interviews and got into IIM Lucknow. Questions have been what was my percentile back then, what were the calls I had, why could I not convert ABC, why did I go to Lucknow. You must have seen my scorecard on Mockat.com, right? Got about 99.98 percentile over the last few years, about 3 times in CAT 2021, 23 and 24. So I also have a score of 305 in NMAT, which I think was the highest score last year, right? Haven't seen a score higher than that. Now, what was the reason back then? Nothing, it's quite simple, right? So things were quite different then as well. Let me give you my experience, right, on how the exam went about. CAT 2008 was the last paper-based exam. CAT 2007 was the penultimate year, right? Just 1 year before that. It was a paper-based exam. So how a mock test conducted back then for a paper-based exam? Sunday, a college will be booked, right? Different institutes will be having it in different colleges. Students will be turning up over there. You have an OMR sheet, right? So you go through it, you fill it up. So with an OMR sheet and, when it's a paper-based exam, you don't have sectional timers. You've got to pace it, right? You've got to pace your attempt. You've got to shuffle between sections, and you have to take a judgment call that, yes, I've spent enough time on this, let me move to the next. I'm generally a high risk taker. That's been my approach. And I used to favor my favorite section, which is Quant. Now, how was my preparation back then? I did not really go prepared, right? In the sense, how did I even crack it without preparation? Can people do it? Yeah, you can if you've been in that zone, right? For a long time, since I was young, I had been preparing in a certain way, right? Which my marks academically aren't very, very high, right? My college, my UG scores would be around 60 odd percent, 65%, right? It's not very high. But when it comes to an exam like this, I'm designed for that, right? So was I using the best techniques for quant? No. The ones which I'm doing right now, after going through several papers and, the best techniques which I've been teaching, I didn't use it back then, right? My overall score was 99.75 percentile. My lowest sectional score was in verbal, 93.94 percentile, which seems to be quite high. But I still did not get calls from Ahmedabad and Calcutta. Simple reason, their sectional cutoffs were higher than that. Ahmedabad set it at 95.6 for each section, and Calcutta had set it for 94.5 in each section, and Lucknow had set it at 92 percentile for each. Right? And Kozhikode and Indore were accordingly lower than that. Shillong was just coming up there, right? Had just come up. So you didn't have the other IIMs either. Now, the best call I had was, of course, naturally Lucknow, right, along with Kozhikode and others, and I did convert them as well. And Lucknow was the highest ranked amongst them, and that's what I chose. Between the 3 sections, so Quant was the highest, right? So it was still a 99.6 which I got in the section, and DILR was a 98.5, right? It wasn't really super high back then. But back was a time when they didn't really have diversity factors, which would have actually helped me because I was a commerce student. Secondly, we did not really have, there wasn't much emphasis on academics, which was in my favor, right? So because my college marks weren't very high. The first college to come up with that was Bangalore back then. Therefore, I didn't have an IIM Bangalore call either. Anyway, so does it mean that I regret? Definitely not. If times are different right now, or if I can go back in time and gotten a call from ABC, would I have taken it up? Definitely. Does it mean that I'm not loyal to a particular college? No. So you work objectively and you go by the ranking, right? It's as simple as that, nothing beyond it, right? So Lucknow was the best, and I made the best use of the campus. There was there were a lot of opportunities over there. I was the joint academic secretary in the first year, became the president in the second year. There was a lot of campus work we had done back then, and a lot of institutional changes we had brought about as well, right? So that was my experience. Now, why are my scores significantly higher right now? What are the differences between a younger me and what I am right now? Back then I was a lot quicker, right? Even now I'm quick, I'm not saying I'm slow. But relatively, I was a lot quicker then. Naturally, with age catching up, or like as you grow a little older, you're going to get a little slower, right, with your calculations. But right now, I use a lot more. The techniques which I employ right now, or deploy or use right now, are a lot more efficient than what I used back then, because I didn't really know these and I hadn't prepared properly. It was raw speed back then which helped me, right? So my scores are much higher right now. even though I'm a little slower, because the techniques are much, much better. And if you people are really interested, come into mockat.com. What I use is what I have made as content over there, and we have in our classes and discussions, right? So that was my experience, and the key takeaway for you, if at all, from that particular experience was, I don't regret, right? There is no regret that, hey, I didn't really get into one of the top 3. It doesn't matter, right? When the college takes over you lose your individuality. It's not about, it has to be like Vignesh who happened to go to IIM Lucknow. It can't be like Vignesh who went to IIM Lucknow, right? So that can't be the thing. So you've got to realize who you are, right? A lot of times I've seen students getting personal about it and get depressed that, oh, they didn't make it to this, they don't have a chance and all of that. See as to where you have a chance, make the best use of it once you go in over there, contribute towards the campus and do well, and make a name for yourself, right? That should be your attitude. That's all I wanted to communicate, right? Attitude matters a lot when it comes to this exam. Go in confidently, go in a fearless manner and conquer it. I'll see you then.